Immature masculinity isn't evil. It's a short-term survival algorithm for rank and safety. You built it fast, under heat. You learned where to stand, how loud to be, which edges to hide. It worked until it started charging interest you never agreed to pay. You know the move. You tighten your voice, square your shoulders, pretend your pulse isn't sprinting. You pass the test for 10 minutes and then feel small for 10 days. Have you noticed how the moments you posture hardest are the moments you feel most invisible? That's the algorithm doing exactly what it was designed to do. Win the room, lose yourself. The code runs on two fuels, fear and shame. Fear says, get ranked above or get erased. Shame whispers, if they see the boy, they'll revoke the man. So you borrow a mask. You amplify, smooth, or disappear, anything to avoid being caught in between. It looks like control. It's really a lease. Hold that thought. Before we rip the mask off, we need to see why it glued so cleanly to your skin. Socrates warned that the unexamined life is not worth living. The mask hates examination. It thrives in speed, noise, and borrowed certainty. If you're always performing, who has time to notice the cost? Have you noticed how much energy you spend on signal, proof you belong, while the quiet substance of you waits in the corner? What if your quiet isn't weakness? It's leverage. What if the trait you've been hiding, tenderness, patience, a slower pace, has been the missing gear all along? Here's the dark twist: the algorithm works. That's why it's so hard to upgrade. It gets you a date, a deal, a brief nod of respect, but it can't teach you to stay. You end up negotiating with bait you don't even want. You overperform, underask, and call it strength. You go loud to avoid being honest. You go agreeable to avoid being alone. You go numb to avoid being seen. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. You'll apologize for needs you never voiced. You'll mistake adrenaline for authority, and the boy you buried will keep pulling the strings from the dark. So we change the question. Not, how do I look strong, but what do I choose under pressure? Power isn't the volume of your signal. It's the direction of your presence. The less you chase, the more you lead. Not because you're aloof, but because you're anchored. Your pace becomes a boundary. Your breath decides outcomes your mouth used to beg for. Take one slow inhale. Notice your jaw. That clench is your mask bargaining for a few more hours. Let it loosen. You're not breaking yourself, you're breaking the lease. We're going to examine the operating system you've been running and swap the parts that bleed you. No shame, no lecture, just clean tools. Shadow work, not show work. Integration, not image. I'm going to show you the 3 masks that keep men stuck in rank panic and the hidden price tags attached to each. We'll map why they caught you, how they pay out in the short term, and why they bankrupt you later. Then we'll install a different rule set. Direction over display, substance over signal, boundaries over bargains. Hold your curiosity. You don't need to be nicer. You need to be truer. The less you grip the performance, the more your presence can do the heavy lifting. We'll crack the masks next, and you'll feel in your body how mature power starts quiet and ends undeniable. Let's name what you've been wearing. Mask 1. The loud lion. When the room tightens, you reach for volume. You throw statements like spears. You interrupt, not to dominate, but to keep from disappearing. Attention feels like oxygen, so you breathe louder. Have you noticed how the more you roar, the more you need to keep roaring just to stay audible? The win is immediate. Nobody can ignore you. The debt is quiet. People start bracing for you rather than trusting you. Mask 2. The smooth mirror. You read faces like weather and trim yourself to match. Agreement becomes a survival skill. You say yes to avoid the storm and end up living in one. You make everyone comfortable, except the person you are when you go home. Have you noticed how the praise you get for being easy never pays the bill of self-respect? The win is social safety. The debt is that respect leaks out of small compromises you thought didn't count. Mask 3. The ghost worker. You outwork the room, stack favors like sandbags, say nothing, and hope someone will finally notice. You keep receipts you never show, then explode when the math doesn't add up. Have you noticed how over-delivery without boundaries turns into resentment with interest? The win is reliability, the debt is invisibility. All three are rank panic in different costumes. They buy 10 minutes of safety and 10 days of aftermath. And because they work, they become habits. Heraclitus said it simply: character is fate. The mask you rehearse becomes the life you live. Here's the contrarian turn. The opposite of the mask isn't weakness, it's direction. The less you chase, the more you lead. Leadership isn't louder, nicer, or busier. Leadership is the person whose pace sets the room, not the person whose pulse follows it. Hold that thought. Before we talk upgrades, we need to figure out which mask is running your show. Try a simple truth you almost never say out loud. I want to be taken seriously. Say it softly enough that your nervous system doesn't flinch. Notice which part of you reacts. If you're the loud lion, that sentence feels like a dare. You want to prove it right now. You'll feel the urge to add a resume bullet, a result, a warning. If you're the smooth mirror, the sentence feels dangerous. You want to check if anyone is offended by your wanting. You'll add, "if that's okay," or "no pressure." If you're the ghost worker, the sentence feels pointless. You'll tell yourself your work should have said it for you. And if it didn't, saying it won't help. Have you noticed how each mask has a fuel? The loud lion runs on fear of being ranked below. The smooth mirror runs on fear of disconnection. The ghost worker runs on fear of asking. Different fuels, same result. Your value becomes a performance that must be maintained under stress. There's a price to that. Performances need stages. Stages need audiences. And when your worth requires an audience, your piece becomes rented property. Let's pressure test it. Imagine you speak your need clearly and briefly. I want this role. Here's the value I can prove in 30 days. If your chest tightens and your words want to sprint, you're wearing the lion. If your tongue edits the sentence into soft cotton, you're in the mirror. If your mouth stays shut while your mind writes a perfect email you'll never send, that's the ghost. What if you didn't throw the mask away, but trained the energy underneath it? The lion has raw courage. Aim it. The mirror has empathy. Anchor it. The ghost has discipline. Voice it. You don't amputate gifts, you integrate them. Here's a second check, fast and ruthless. When status walks into the room, do you go louder, smoother, or invisible? Whichever answer you hate is likely your mask. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. Broken trust after a roar, quiet resentment after a yes, burnout after unseen labor. Catch it, and you get leverage. The exact habit to retrain. The exact edge to blunt. The exact muscle to build. You don't need to announce a new personality, you need to practice a new pace. True rank stabilizes when your energy stops chasing the room. The lion learns to hold silence without shrinking. The mirror learns to disagree without apology. The ghost learns to request without a spreadsheet of justifications. We'll score your mask soon and swap the algorithm that's bleeding you. For now, carry this line forward. I choose direction over display. Let it sit in your mouth like a small stone. Feel how it changes your breathing. Because here's the quiet math. The person who doesn't sprint for approval can finally walk toward responsibility. And responsibility, not applause, is where respect lives. Hold that thought. The glue that keeps these masks on your face isn't willpower or habit. It's shame. And shame, left unexamined, turns smart men into obedient actors. Next, we open the hood and name the engine so you can turn it off without tearing yourself apart. Shame whispers a simple threat. If they see the boy, they'll revoke the man. So you overcorrect. You harden the jaw, turn the volume up, learn the lines that sound like certainty. It works. Until the bill arrives in quiet moments, you be postponing. Have you noticed how the trait you mock in others is often the one you've exiled in yourself? Patience in the colleague you call slow. Warmth in the friend you label soft. Boundaries in the stranger you call selfish. Jung would call this the shadow. Whatever you won't allow in your mirror becomes the puppeteer behind it. Here's the contrarian turn. Shame isn't proof you're broken. It's proof you're still editable. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." If shame stands in the doorway, integration is the doorway, not performance, not denial. Integration, letting the disowned trait sit at your table long enough to learn its job. Name it, quietly. Which trait did you bury to look unbreakable? Gentleness, slowness, asking. Let it surface for one breath. What if the thing you avoid is the doorway to the authority you keep borrowing from costume? Dark psychology, cleanly stated. Shame freezes upgrades. You cannot update a self you're hiding from. When the system detects exposure, it runs the old algorithm: rank panic, impression management, speed. The mask buys 10 minutes of safety and 10 days of debt. You know this rhythm in your bones. Have you noticed how your strength peaks exactly when you're most scared? The louder you argue, the more you're asking for permission without admitting it. The irony: the room relaxes when you stop auditioning. Let's make space for a small drill. Simple, humane, 90 seconds if you want it. First, name the scene that stings, when my idea is ignored. Second, name the sensation, not the story. Heat in chest, shallow breath. Third, name the value underneath. I want to be taken seriously. Fourth, translate value into boundary. I'll state my point once, clearly, then ask for a decision. Fifth, dry rehearse one clean sentence under your breath. I'll present the plan in 2 steps, then I'll need a yes or no. No theatrics, just rehearsal. You are teaching your nervous system that exposure is survivable. Contrarian claim: your anger isn't childish. Unmanaged anger is. Directed anger protects. Have you noticed how the boundary you delay returns as an explosion you regret? Rage is a late boundary arriving without manners. Earlier is kinder, to you and to them. Try a gentler edge. I'm available 9 to 6. After that, I respond tomorrow. Or, I want to continue this, tomorrow at 10. Short sentences are not rudeness, they're structure. The more structure you speak, the less drama you need. What if your quiet isn't weakness? It's leverage. When shame spikes, drop the performance by 10% and increase the clarity by 10%. Less display, more direction. The room can't rank you if you stop playing the pageant. A pledge for the next hard moment. I choose truth at gentle volume. I practice boundaries with integrity. Say it softly. Let your breath catch up to your words. Leadership isn't louder breath. It's longer breath. Here's the snag you already feel. Integrating the shadow isn't a mood. It's a method. Without method, you'll keep white-knuckling exposure and calling it stoicism. With method, the same exposure becomes training weight. So we'll trade theater for training. We'll close one loop here. Shame shrinks when it's spoken cleanly and acted on simply, and we'll open a deeper one. How to convert rank panic into grounded rank, the kind that doesn't need a witness to exist. Hold that thought. In the next movement, I'll give you 4 name tactics: practical, repeatable, and testable, to replace the mask with a spine you can trust. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. You don't need a new personality. You need 4 moves that make the mask obsolete. They're simple, not easy. Each one trades display for direction. Try them as an experiment, not as a costume. Tactic 1. The quiet audit. For the next stretch of conversations, shave 20% off your words. Not silence, precision. Ask one clarifying question before you offer any opinion. Then observe. Do people lean in or lean away? Have you noticed how certainty grows when your sentences get shorter? The loud lion inside you will panic. Say more, sell harder, fill the space. Let him pace. Your training signal control, contrarian truth. Restraint isn't absence, it's architecture. If your value collapses when you speak less, you are selling air. Hold that thought. We'll pressure test it soon. This isn't passive, it's surgical. Your quiet becomes leverage because it forces you to choose the words that carry weight. You'll be tempted to perform sophistication. Don't use plain language. What do you most need from me? What problem are we actually solving? Each precise question is a hand on the steering wheel. Miss this, and you'll keep paying social interest on sentences you didn't need to say. Tactic 2. Rank detox. 7 days. No humble brags, no subtle flexes, no just so you know I'm busy / connected / indispensable. You don't announce reliability, you demonstrate it. Show up early twice. Keep one promise that costs you. Let someone else mention your competence first. Have you noticed how praise that you bait never satisfies? That's because it's not nourishment, it's sugar. The trap here is false humility, weaponizing smallness to win approval. That's still chasing rank, just in reverse. Detox means you stop feeding the part of you that begs to be seen as superior or saintly. You deliver, clean and quiet. Laozi would nod here. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is power. Power doesn't check the mirror. It checks the map. Tactic 3. Channel the spear. Anger isn't childish. Unmanaged anger is. You don't suppress it. You aim it. Put anger on a clock. 10 minutes of controlled intensity. Sprints, push-ups, shadowboxing a fierce walk. Then one boundary sentence, no essay. I'm available 9 to 6. After that, I respond tomorrow. I won't joke about that again, and I don't want it from you either. Short, warm, firm. Here's the snag. If you don't schedule a place for energy, it will schedule you. Flooding leads to explosions. Fawning leads to erasure. Channeling is the third path. You're telling your nervous system, we use the spear to protect, not to perform. Have you noticed how a clean boundary changes the room more than 10 explanations? It's because the body hears structure faster than it hears logic. Watch for the classic pitfall. Righteousness, cosplay. That's where you call everything a boundary, because it feels good to finally push back. Don't swing the spear to feel tall. Use it to make room for dignity, yours and theirs. If you overshoot, repair quickly. That came out sharp. My boundary stands. My tone can improve. That's maturity, strength with calibration. Tactic 4. The ledger of costs. 2 columns. On the left, mask wins. On the right, mask debts. Write uncomfortable specifics. Win. I got invited because I told the story everyone liked. Debt. Now they expect a show every time, and I'm exhausted. Well, I kept the peace by agreeing. Debt. We're now doing a plan I can't support, and I resent them. The ledger kills vagueness. When you see the balance sheet, upgrades stop feeling like morality and start feeling like math. You'll want to skip the ledger because it strips away alibis. Shame will whisper, don't look, you'll collapse. Truth, the opposite. Seen clearly, shame shrinks. Have you noticed how secrets run your life more than facts do? Facts, written down, become decisions. Once you pay attention to the debt column, the mask loses funding. You don't need willpower, you need accurate bookkeeping. Take one more breath. A subtle shift is happening. You're swapping theater for training. The quiet audit replaces volume with vector. Rank detox replaces chasing with compounding. Channel the spear replaces explosions with protection. The ledger replaces stories with evidence. Each tactic is small on purpose. Small changes are hard to fake, easy to repeat, and impossible to ignore. A brief anchor from the ancients. Aristotle would call these acts habits under guidance. You're guiding yourself. Not a performance, a practice. When the impulse to posture surges, you'll do one of two things: speed up and sell, or slow down and steer. If you're still measuring worth by reaction time and applause count, the mask still owns part of your calendar. Hold this edge with me. In a moment, we'll run a stress test that exposes whether your value depends on speed. I call it the siren test. It's the difference between being dragged by attention and directing it. The siren test is simple. When attention spikes, pings, eyes on you, heat in the room, do you speed up to prove it or slow down to own it? Your nervous system wants to rush. Rank panic loves a sprint, but leadership begins when you lengthen the beat. Have you noticed how the fastest answer usually buys the least respect? Count softly in your head, 1,000, before you speak. Feel your spine decide. Pace control isn't passivity, it's authorship. If your value only rises when you accelerate, the mask is still driving. The calm you fear looking weak is the exact signal others read as authority. What if the thing you avoid, being measured instead of manic, is the doorway to durable power? Here's the teaser. In a minute, we'll break signal verses. Substance, the most expensive confusion men make, the one that burns out good men and crowns pretenders. If this is landing and you want the full upgrade, subscribe now so you don't miss the next tools. No fluff, just skills you can use the same day. Back to work. Signal is attention you capture. Substance is pressure you can carry. Signal can be rented. Substance must be trained. Noise can impersonate signal for a week. Only substance compounds for a decade. Miss this and you'll keep trading years for applause that never pays your life back. Get it right, and you'll stop negotiating with bait you don't even want. Your quiet isn't weakness, it's leverage when it's deliberate. Lengthen your pause by 10% in your next heated moment. Let impatience break on your shoreline. Sun Tzu would tell you, choose the ground before you fight. Pace is modern ground. Hold that thought. Next, we'll map the 4 levels of masculine signal: noise, signal, substance, presence, and I'll show you how to move up a level without theatrics, quietly, steadily. Signal isn't the enemy, it's just loud. The trap is mistaking loud for real. You already know this in your bones. The rooms you tried to conquer with volume are the rooms that quietly conquered you. So let's draw the map and stop paying the noise tax. Level 1 is noise. Movement without a mission. It looks brave because it thrashes. It feels alive because it burns fuel. But there's no vector. Have you noticed how the moment you start performing for attention, your attention leaves the work? Noise spends you. Level 2 is signal, hooks, speed, shine. Status shoes, urgent replies, perfectly timed opinions. Signal is useful. It alerts the tribe to your existence, but it's still borrowed power. If approval glitches, your worth glitches with it. Here's the contrarian turn. The less you chase, the more you lead. Chasing broadcasts hunger. Leadership broadcasts direction. Level 3 is substance, competence under constraint. You deliver when variables change. You carry weight without narrating it. People stop complimenting your promise and start depending on your presence. Substance compounds. Level 4 is presence, direction plus restraint. It's the quiet that changes a room without asking permission. Others reorganize around your steadiness because your steadiness is reality-based. Presence isn't a trick, it's nervous system truth. Pause for a breath. Notice your impulse to fill the air. That impulse is data. You don't have to punish it, you can train it. Here's the micro stakes. Confuse signal with substance and you'll trade years for applause that never cashes out. Get the levels right and you build a life that pays you back with interest. So how do you climb? 2 switches you can throw today. Tactic. Boundary titration. Not a grand announcement, a calibrated number. Choose the smallest boundary you can hold without shaking. 1 sentence. Neutral tone. Then silence. Can you jump on tonight? Can't tonight. Friday 10 works. Hold your spine while the room tests you. No extra explaining. No apology tour. You are teaching your system that respect begins where leakage ends. Have you noticed how 1 clean boundary buys more peace than 10 heroic rescues? Tactic. The 3-word mission. Reduce your life to 3 words that aim you when you're tired. Examples: protect, provide, play, or build, belong, breathe. Let them be verbs. Tape them where your eyes land first. When a decision shows up, test it against the triad. Does this protect? Does this provide? Does this play? If it fails the triad, it's probably signal pretending to be substance. If it passes, your next step is obvious and quiet. Epictetus taught that freedom begins with self-mastery. Translation. You can't lead a room, you can't lead your impulses in. Presence is just impulse leadership practiced in public. Hold that thought. There's a reason restraint reads as authority. It's proof you're not negotiating with your own neediness. When you slow your reply by a single breath, you tell your body, we choose timing, not panic. When you state 1 boundary cleanly, you tell your life, we choose design, not drift. When your 3 words face a noisy fork in the road, you aim, and the fork becomes trivial. Your quiet isn't passivity, it's leverage. The paradox is simple. The man who no longer begs to be seen becomes impossible to ignore. Next, we'll name the 4 maturities that make this durable. So you stop oscillating between heat and collapse and start carrying heat without burning the house. You don't need a new costume, you need 4 trained capacities that make the costume irrelevant. Protection, provision, presence, play. Think of them as a square you can stand inside when pressure hunts you. Have you noticed how you swing between too hard and too soft when you're tired? That's not character, that's survival. The dark truth. Performing man burns energy you could spend building one. The path is simpler, slower, sturdier. Protection is courage without theater. You face the problem first, not the person. You say, here's what's happening. Here's what I'm willing to do. No drum roll, no threats. Your body cue. Jaw unclenches, gaze steady, breath low. Contrarian claim. Your restraint isn't weakness, it's structure. Provision is surplus without martyrdom. You create more than you consume. Time, money, margin, and you do it without turning yourself into a ghost. Think fewer promises, better systems. Calendar blocks that hold, meals prepped, money routed automatically. What if the thing you avoid, boring consistency, is the doorway to freedom? Presence is attention that doesn't beg for applause. You track the room, the timeline, the cost, and you don't narrate your tracking. People relax because you don't add static. You answer slowly, ask once, clarify twice, then decide. The less you chase, the more you lead. Play is regulated energy that invites life. Not escape, not numbness. You can laugh in conflict and plan in peace. You can spar without needing to win. When play returns, creativity returns. When creativity returns, options multiply. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. Aristotle would nod here. You become what you practice. No mystery, just repetitions under guidance, so let's train it. The 30-day pillar sprint. Pick the thinnest pillar. Circle it, that's your month. Define one daily rep you can't wiggle out of. Protection, one clean boundary sentence per day. Provision, 1 hour of deep work before messages. Presence, one conversation where you ask more than you tell. Play, 15 minutes of sweat or art with your phone out of the room. Choose a visible proof, a tally on paper, a jar with coins, something your hands can count. Review every 7 days. Keep, cut, or double. No self-hazing. Precision over punishment. Add one, pledge you'll live, not announce. I choose direction over display. I practice boundaries with integrity. I choose pace control. I practice strength without theater. Have you noticed how a single kept promise to yourself upgrades your voice? Protection sharpens provision. Provision funds presence. Presence steadies play. They feed each other like gears. Watch the caricatures. Overdo protection, and you drift into control. Overdo provision, and you martyr. Overdo presence, and you detach. Overdo play, and you escape. When you feel the slide, return to the square. One step in each corner. Breathe. Decide. Bridge this into your week. One boundary you'll keep, one task you'll finish, one person you'll listen to cleanly, one moment you'll laugh without apology. Hold that thought. We're about to name the 2 traps that pull mature men back into the old algorithm. Flooding and fawning. We'll wire counters so you don't lose the ground you just built. First trap. Flooding. Your nervous system spikes, your chest tightens, and the world shrinks to one bad option. Explode or disappear. You know this one. Raised voice, rapid fixes, or that cold, silent retreat that punishes the whole room. Have you noticed how your smartest words vanish the second your body says, "We're not safe"? Here's the counter. Breath plus boundary. 3 slow exhales, then 1 sentence request. Not a speech, not a defense. A request that moves time and place to where you can think. I want to continue this tomorrow at 10. Pause. Give me 15 minutes and I'll respond. You're not running, you're choosing ground. Strength looks like pace control when everyone else is sprinting. What if the thing you thought was weakness, slowing down, is actually your steering wheel? Second trap, fawning. You trade truth for harmony and call it maturity. You nod, soften, over-understand. You buy peace with a piece of yourself. It works, until the bill arrives in resentment. Have you noticed how the apologies come faster when your needs never made it into the room? The counter. Ask, then anchor. Ask plainly. Anchor specifically. I want this to be mutual. Here's what I need. Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m., uninterrupted. Or, I'm willing to help if we agree to X by Friday. No edge, no pose. Clarity without threat. The less you chase, the more you lead, because direction attracts what chasing repels. Flooding says, fix it now or you'll lose status. Fawning says, give it up or you'll lose belonging. Both are rank panic in different outfits. Your upgrade is neither war nor surrender. It's direction. You decide when, where, and how you'll engage, and you keep your dignity intact. Remember Marcus Aurelius, what stands in the way becomes the way. The surge in your chest isn't the enemy, it's the bell that begins your practice. The urge to please isn't proof you're weak, it's a signal to speak one clean sentence of need. Skip these counters and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose, conflicts that break trust, agreements you never agreed to, fatigue that feels like fate. Practice them and your presence does something rare. It calms rooms without shrinking you. Try this tonight. When tension rises, lower your voice and shorten your sentence. One breath, one line, one boundary. When harmony tempts you to vanish, ask once and anchor once. If the room can't respect that, the data arrives quickly, and now you're dealing with truth, not fantasy. Hold this in your hand. Breath plus boundary for the fire. Ask, then anchor for the fog. 2 moves, trainable, portable. They turn storms into practice and politeness into partnership. We'll make it stick next with live pledges, simple lines you can say today and live tomorrow. Not announcements, commitments, quiet, strong, repeatable. Say this under your breath. It works better when you don't perform it. I choose direction over display. I practice boundaries with integrity. Feel how the words rearrange your spine. Not louder, truer. The mask can imitate volume. It can't imitate direction. Again, but slower. I choose pace control. I practice strength without theater. Notice what tries to speed up inside you. Anxious hands. A rush to prove. That's the old algorithm begging for stage time. Let it pace in the lobby. You're in the boardroom now. One more, the one most men avoid. I choose clarity before chemistry. I practice truth at gentle volume. Chemistry is fireworks. Clarity is architecture. Fireworks impress strangers. Architecture shelters people you love. If your chest just tightened, good. That's shame loosening its grip. Shame says, announce it and maybe they'll believe. Maturity says, live it and you won't need to announce. Pledges aren't for Instagram. They're for how you answer texts at midnight, how you decline invitations that cost your future, how you show up when no one's clapping. Here's how we make the words into a system. Tactic 9. Sunday refit. 10 quiet minutes once a week. 2 columns, mask wins and mask debts. Be honest. The win might read, close the deal by overpromising. The debt reads, now I owe a version of me that doesn't exist. Next, sketch 7 days with 1 small rep toward the pillar you're underfeeding. Protection, provision, presence, or play. 1 representative. 5 minutes. That's it. The point isn't heroics, it's continuity. You're teaching your nervous system, we move on purpose now. Tactic 10. The signal fast. 24 hours. For 1 day, no status-seeking tells. No humble brags, no rapid-fire replies to prove availability, no peacocking opinions you don't live by. When the itch to signal flares, breathe and substitute substance. Complete a task, return a thing you borrowed, send a clear boundary, make a meal, stack a small surplus. Signals chase attention, substance attracts respect. You'll feel the withdrawal. Good, that's the cost, leaving your body. Ancient echo from the old sages who didn't need microphones. Knowing others is clever. Knowing yourself is light. You don't need to defeat every critic. You need to stop negotiating with the parts of you that like being misunderstood because it buys you time. Have you noticed how the room changes after 1 clean boundary? No raised voice, no speech, just a line that holds. Your quiet isn't weakness, it's leverage. The less you chase, the more you lead. When your pace sets the tempo, other people stop tossing you their emergencies like hot coals. Let's stitch the pledges to ordinary life. Direction over display means you answer, what are you building? Before you answer, who's watching? Boundaries with integrity means your no arrives early and calm, not late and explosive. Pace control means your pauses carry weight, even when attention spikes. Strength without theater means your competence shows under constraint, not during a victory lap. Clarity before chemistry means you choose the relationship that fits your mission, not the spark that burns it down. Truth at gentle volume means you tell it clean, without the tremble of performance. What if the thing you avoid, speaking softly but clearly, turns out to be the doorway to authority that lasts? Hold that. Skip this. And the mask will keep calling itself personality, charging interest you don't notice until the night is quiet. Take the pledges and the 2 tactics into the next 7 days, and you'll feel the algorithm update in small, undeniable ways. Steadier mornings, fewer apologies, better sleep, cleaner requests. We're almost done here, but not finished. In the next part, I'll compress all of this into 3 sentences you can carry for the week. 3 lines that turn chaos into coordinates. Bring your ledger. Bring your breath. Quiet, steady, ready. 3 sentences for your week. I protect first, perform later. I slow down when attention speeds up. I trade display for delivery. Have you noticed how a single clean boundary changes the entire room more than 10 speeches? The moment you choose direction over display, the noise rearranges itself around you. Your quiet isn't absence, it's architecture. The less you chase, the more you lead. Socrates would smile here. Examine, then act. Not perfection, pressure-tested choices. You don't need to announce new standards. You need to live them at gentle volume. 1 honest number, 1 direct ask, 1 task fully finished without theatrics. That's how rank stops being panic and starts being presence. What if the thing you avoid, being seen as unfinished, is the doorway to authority? Hold that thought as you move through the next 7 days. When attention spikes, lengthen the pause. When the old mask reaches for applause, deliver the work instead. When shame whispers, hide. Speak 1 clean sentence and let your spine decide the rest. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. Do this, and your life starts refunding you in margin, respect, and sleep. You're not erasing the boy, you're promoting him, giving him a job he can be proud of. And now, the road bends. There's a trick ancient storytellers knew that soldiers often forget. Sometimes the bravest way through danger isn't force, it's play. Next, we step into how the fool cheats death. The 2 moves that slip past traps brute strength can't: misdirection and minimum necessary force. If you've built the spine, this is how you make it dance. Bring your questions, bring your ledger. Quiet, steady, ready.